Good morning, Armor Down. Hope you slept well. I'm in the garage and it's freezing, so that's why I'm bundled up. But let's get back to this week. We'll finish out with a longer practice around bell one and the senses. So anyway, let's kind of go over what we've been kind of working through, talking through. But this idea of predictive processing is that's what the brain does. And let me kind of drill down on that a little bit more. So everything that's happening inside of you is organized and made embodied by this special, unbelievable thing called the brain. The brain operates from the top down, right? So your identity, your senses, your attention, okay? And then from the bottom up, your nervous system is bringing those senses to your brain. And so what's happening is not your brain is just sitting in your head, just waiting for information. What's happening is that your brain is putting out these predictions about what's going to happen. And then based off of the information that it's receiving, it's then correcting and becoming more precise as to what is showing up for you. So you walk into a room, the room is dark. Your brain can't put out what's there. You turn the light on. All this new precision rushes in, new stuff shows up, you're able to perceive what's going on. Okay. Now, think of that as like a layer, right? Now, you've also got these processes that go on within yourself that are influencing how the brain corrects itself. Okay. So if you've experienced trauma or if you've gone through any kind of super challenges like, pandemic or anything like that, you're going to get experience within yourself that will kind of elicit responses by your brain to get you to do something. So say you're thirsty, okay? So if you're thirsty, part of what's going to happen is that your body is going to create a sensational experience that will trigger this reaction by your brain to encourage you to drink, right? So there's an awareness that your brain has of the embodied self, and keeping that alive and keeping that healthy is its primary mission. So we'll put this up on the screen, but this is in the paper I've been talking about. On page 202, under perception and active inference, the bottom of the last chapter, the brain is in the game of predicting the world, but only as a means to the end of embodied self-preservation, right? Your brain isn't predicting the world for fun. It's not going through just a random set of stuff. It's keeping you alive. Now, your thoughts, your internal environments, your experiences dictate how the brain does that. And so if you've been through trauma, if you've been through experiences that really kind of change how you understand how to survive, military training, living through a pandemic, other kinds of traumas, if you've experienced that kind of stuff that changes the way you understand how to be alive, it changes your brain. So the way the brain triggers this kind of experience of thirstiness to move you to be thirsty is similar to the way the brain can be triggered by different things to make you kind of tense up and move away from something or to shift. And these things are happening more than what you can be consciously aware of. And they're patterns. They're patterns that we build over and over and over again. I encourage you to read this paper. I mean, we're going to put it it's in the notes again. You'll have access to it, but I encourage you to go through it, take a look at it. I'll refer to it more and more as I try to kind of make this stuff more and more real for you. But the key thing to remember is that while your brain is doing all these things, literally creating the reality that you're embodied in, your ability to shift your attention, to change what you're focusing on, your ability to change how your brain is processing the moment is what makes mindfulness such a useful tool. You can take a system that's think hypervigilance. Think what happens when you're in a space surrounded by people that, you know, maybe you're surrounded by people who you know could possibly have COVID. Nobody's wearing a mask. Maybe you're not wearing a mask, and maybe all of a sudden someone starts coughing and you immediately fixate on that experience as the thing that is most threatening to you. Everything collapses. All your focus changes to just that thing. Everything just kind of whoosh. All your awareness just goes whoosh. That's your brain's survival mechanism. It's just whoosh. It's doing it. Now, you can influence that by changing what you're paying attention to. And that's the piece that this week's all about, which is taming the mind. Your mind can get focused on things, especially when it comes to survival. And so that spin up, that kind of whoosh, that can be tamed through your senses. And the reason why it can be tamed through your senses is because your senses are always taking place in the present moment. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell is always taking place in the present moment. So you undercut, usurp, you get in front of, you quiet, you whatever you want to think about it, you get in the way of the pattern. And the way you get in the way of the pattern is by coming into full focus on your senses. It's taming the mind. That's first bell. So if there's anything you take away from this week and this practice that we've been going through, it's taming the mind. So I'll stop talking about it and let's practice it. We're going to go through first bell. I'm going to guide you through it and then we'll call it a day. All right. So first thing I want you to do is just show up as you are. What that means is let all the patterns, let all the predictions, let all the thoughts, let everything that you are currently experiencing in your own mind, in your own body, just be there. Show up as you are on the cushion. Okay, here comes first bell. As the sound of the bell fades, let your sense of hearing open to the sounds around you. What's the furthest away sound you can hear? What's the closest sound you hear? Just be curious. You kind of give your mind something to do. Say, mind, what kind of sounds do I hear? Now let's switch to your sense of sight. Be curious about light and shadow, the interplay of light and shadow around the room or wherever you are. But look around and notice light and shadow. And what will happen is that you'll notice that there's all these little aspects of light and shadow that you just didn't pay attention to before. They're always present, light and shadow. Once you've explored that a little bit, close your eyes. Once you've closed your eyes, focus on your sense of touch. So maybe that's what you're sitting on or standing on, the feeling of what's beneath you. Notice how you can tell what the temperature of where you are feels like. Can you distinguish between the sensations of the parts of your body that are open to the air and the sensation of parts of your body that are covered by clothing? Can you feel temperature, multiple temperatures around your body? Some parts are warmer than others, some parts are colder than others. Notice how you can tell. Now come to your sense of smell. So put all your attention at your nostrils. And slowly, with an element of curiosity, pull air into your nose and study what you can smell. Now slow down the inhale process and try to really zero in on your sense of smell. Really slow down and put all your attention right at the nostrils and see if you can pick out any smells. Now let's start to finish with senses in the mouth. Just bring your attention inside your mouth. Notice what your tongue is doing. Let your tongue flatten out. Notice if your teeth are open or separated or touching. And then just see if there's any taste in your mouth, any tastes. Maybe the leftover of a cup of coffee, or maybe just the normal taste of your mouth. Notice the moisture in your mouth. Just spend time in kind of being curious about the region of taste. Now let's finish the practice by taking 2 mindful breaths. So I want you to try to stay as focused on the breath as you can until your second exhale. And on the second exhale, bring your attention back into your room. All right. Basic stuff, simple stuff, hard stuff. Because what happens when you practice is that the processor, the brain, is going to be shooting out. It's going to be trying to figure out what's coming next, what to do. It's a unique quality of the human experience. It's probably unique in all of animal kingdom that we can interact with the past and the future with the mind. So just keep in mind that just because our minds can do that, just because we've got this potential to predict what's going on and think and analyze and all this other kind of stuff, doesn't mean that what we come up with is true or right. It just means that we have the ability to do that. So learning how to tame the mind so that you really understand and live with the reality that you have a mind, you're not your mind, you have a mind, and that it can be tamed is a big, big deal. So if you take anything away from this week, know that you can tame your mind. As always, I want to thank Adam Kennedy for making these wonderful videos possible. Thank you, my friend. And if you hear from Adam, know that he is the digital outreach operations director. So he's big dog in Armor Down world. So thank you, Adam. And all right. Hope you have a great weekend, Armor Down, and we'll see you next week. Later.